Boom. All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about understanding what type of trader you are. All right, so if you've been in this game for a while, if you've already established a trading style that suits you, then this video might not be for you. But I've had a decent amount of people reaching out recently mentioning that they were newer traders. So I figured that this would be an insightful video because I think this is a very important thing to establish if you are a little earlier in your trading career. All right, so that said, even going through this, even just this thought process that I was going through in making this video was helpful for me too. So even if you did establish a trading position or a trading style already, I think it's important to kind of reevaluate it over time and just reinforce your beliefs in the specific type of trading that you do. All right, so that way you can just hone that specific type of trading and get better at that. And getting better at that specifically will ultimately enable you to outperform your competition. So that's what trading is, you guys, right? For the most part, obviously outperforming your competition. But again, it's just important to remember that sometimes. Okay, so what we're going to do here, the way I'm going to structure this is I actually just made a big old write-up, one of these good old write-ups, okay? So this breaks down the three types of traders in my mind. You can get very nitty gritty and a lot more specific than this, but this is just the three primary types of traders that I chose to talk about because I feel like they're definitely the three primary types of traders in this game. So it's a list of pros and cons for each type of trader. It's a brief explanation and then a list of pros and cons for each. All right, so I'll start by just listing each one out, and then we'll go over the pros and cons in each. All right, and again, this was just off the dome. I just wrote this up for you guys, and I'm gonna be chiming in more than this. These are just, again, a quick rundown of the pros and cons, and then I'll harp on some of the pros and cons in more depth. All right, so let's just get straight into this. Prior to that, as always, if you guys go on to gain any value from this video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys gave it a like and subscribed if you're not already. If you are, thank you, but if not, if you want to catch more content like this, I'd really appreciate a subscription. It helps out a lot. All right, so let's get straight into this. What type of trader are you? Let's make this a little bigger. This is just a little bit. All right, so what type of trader are you? The first one I chose to talk about is a day trader. I define that as a trader who makes multiple trades intraday, primarily based off of technical analysis, or TA. So I do say TA a lot. If you guys aren't familiar, I'm sure a lot of you are by now. That means technical analysis, and closes all positions prior to the market closing. All right, so that's the first type, day trader. The infamous day trader, it's what you hear a lot in kind of movies. It's the most glamorized type of trading a lot of the time. The second type is a swing trader, which I would classify myself the most as. Prior to going any further, I want to say that I do a little bit of, I very occasionally day trade, not a lot at all, but sometimes if the opportunity presents itself, I will. I do long-term trades, so I'm a long-term investor in a sense. I do have a lot of long-term positions that I don't plan on touching, but the majority of my trades, the type of trader I am as a trader, is a swing trader. Okay, so that is, as I define it, a trader who takes on positions based off of both news, fundamentals, and technical analysis. These positions will typically be held anytime, ranging from a few days to a few weeks, maybe even a few months in some cases. Okay, so again, that's the type of trader I am. I'm somewhere in the middle, not a day trader, not only a buy and hold and sell in years kind of guy. So again, we'll go over the pros and cons after I mention this third type, which is the long-term investor. I would classify this type of individual as an investor, not a trader. This is someone who doesn't care as much about the day-to-day price action or news, but believes in the long-term prospects of a company and takes on a position with the idea that the stock or asset will be significantly higher over the coming years. Okay, so we'll actually just cover this one, the pros and cons of this one, because it's the shortest and it's kind of the most basic type of investor. I have nothing against long-term investors. This type of investing actually over time proves to outperform in most cases, most traders. I want to preface this also by saying that most traders in this game lose. That's something that you guys have to understand. I'm not sure what the exact stat is, but there are definitely exchanges and trading platforms out there that release these type of analytics, and it's something like 90 to 95% of traders lose. All right, you guys. So that's something important to understand, and that's something to motivate you to continue to educate yourself and do your due diligence and do your research and get better at your craft. Okay, because especially if you're watching this, if you are a younger investor, understand that this is a very long game we're playing. And this is literally a game you can play for your entire life, which is part of the beautiful thing about investing, which is why the earlier you get in, the more time you have to get ahead, okay? That's why some of the greatest investors are super old dudes, all right? Or I shouldn't say best investors, but the most highly regarded, Warren Buffett's, Ray Dalio's, they're all pretty old guys, right? And that's just because they've been in the game for a long time. They've put in their reps, all right? So just keep that in mind, guys. There's nothing wrong with a long-term investor. The pros I listed for it are, aside from opening and closing a position, there is no effort involved, and very little stress aside from total market meltdowns. Okay, so again, long-term investor, you believe in the long-term prospects of a company. Say in Apple, like if you invested in Apple 10 years ago, you'd be killing it right now. You'd be outperforming by far most. Say you put $1,000 into Apple, or you tried to trade $1,000. If you just sat on that for 10 years, it's very likely that you would have outperformed the majority of traders, even the good ones, just by buying Apple stock. So spotting a company you like, for me, this long-term hold is Bitcoin. I have a solid Bitcoin position established, and I don't plan on selling that for a while. I do trade a small portion of it, but I have a solid chunk of like Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrencies that I don't plan on selling for years to come, okay? But again, there's Apple, there's Amazon, there's so many examples of these great companies that if you just sat on them and didn't panic sell, even when the market got ugly, then like I have listed here, very little stress aside from total market meltdowns when kind of everything melts. That does bring in some stress to a long-term investment, but if you have strong hands, if you really are confident in the long-term potential of a company, this is a great route to take, and it's way less stressful. The cons, it can be much less lucrative. So again, a lot of the time it does prove to be more lucrative than trading, because 90% of traders fail. So unless you are a good trader, this is I should say, unless you're not dedicated to sharpening your craft, honing your craft, and really developing your trading skills, then this is probably the best call for you, to be honest. Like if you're not willing to put in the time like other people are, there's always going to be people outworking you, and you will in turn lose the majority of your money because there's just people working harder than you, okay? So if you're not willing to put in the work, I know a lot of you are think you are willing to, but you got to get real with yourself and like really establish if you are willing to put in hours and hours a day of research and due diligence, then definitely be a trader. But if not, you should just buy something you believe in long term and hold it and not panic sell. And that's the thing, it's boring. If you guys do want to be a trader, if you want to be a part of this game, if this is exciting to you, then you want to be a trader, but do understand that it comes with a lot of work. And so that's the thing about this, it's boring. I assume a lot of you watching this do want to be traders because it is titled "What Type of Trader Are You?" But really get real with yourself, okay? Like if you're not willing to put in the work, then you should just be a long-term investor, okay? And it's definitely important to establish that early, because with a long-term investment, the earlier you get in, the better, okay? Especially at a time like this when the market has melted down, okay? This COVID crisis has definitely posed a lot of mental fortitude and mental stress. Practice the mental resilience of these long-term investors, okay? So that said, that's the most basic, but again, there's nothing wrong with that. I do hold some long-term investments, but that is the most kind of worldly not well-versed, but just like basic level of trader. All right, so again, we'll get to the day trader now. So day trader is the most glorified level of trader. I describe this as, I already said that, a trader who makes multiple trades intraday, primarily based off of technical analysis, and closes all positions prior to the market closing. Okay, so I'll actually just reread those before I go over the pros and cons, just to remind you guys. But the pros are, if you enjoy TA, have a good eye for patterns, and an innate sense of mathematics, this is great for you. You don't have to pay as much attention to the news, although still relevant. You can get by fairly successfully solely off of the technicals. And 2, you never have to deal with the stress of holding a position overnight or for an extended period of time. Okay, so the second one is extremely important in my mind, because I'm a swing trader and I do have to deal with that. Okay, so because you only make trades intraday, you close out all your positions before the market closes. You're never going to be worried about some potential bad news being released after market hours or in off market hours. Like say you had a position in Apple and then they released, or just super basic example. You have a position in Apple. that the coronavirus crisis news kind of drops, and then the market's going to tank the next day. Okay, you don't have to deal with the fact that you're sitting on that share or that stock overnight, and that you're going to have to wake up to a fall in stock and a crash price. Okay, so that's a big plus of being a day trader. But again, this is good if you have a mathematical brain, if you like charts, if you're good at trends or pattern spotting, like this right here and back. Like if you can just look at this all day and continue to look at charts like this, and you want to look at all these indicators over here, then day trading might be for you. Again, I as a swing trader still use those indicators from time to time, definitely not as much, and I don't put as much weight on them as a day trader would. But again, a day trader heavily relies on the technicals as opposed to the fundamentals. Again, the fundamentals do still come into play because you want to know which stocks to play, but the technicals far outweigh the fundamentals in day trading. Okay, so the cons of day trading is that it's rare that you get to reap the rewards of good news that is released in market off hours. So again, with the bad news, you don't have the stress of the bad news, knowing you're going to come to a crash stock in the morning. The same applies to vice versa. Okay, so if a company releases really good news, like in our recent cases, Moderna or Novio or something, they release very good news, and the stock's going to be crushing it the next day. They don't get to reap the rewards of that. Okay, they have to trade it intraday. They're not going to get that crazy 10-20% move, that jump right off the bat. Okay, so, and the second con is you are directly competing with the whales and market makers, which are the hedge funds and quants. Okay, so that's the biggest thing in the technical game. You guys have to understand that a lot of the market movement, even in today's markets, are controlled by these market makers, which are the hedge funds and quantitative firms, okay, that are trading with millions, if not billions of dollars. They are using very complex algorithms to determine which trades they're making. And if you're going to be a technical trader, it's very likely that you are not going to be as good and as proficient as these algorithms are. Okay, so you're directly competing with these algorithms designed by hedge funds to amass them billions of dollars. Okay, so these are very, very highly complex, very highly developed algorithms that you're competing against as a day trader. Okay, and the same goes for a swing trader, like a little bit, but a day trader, you are literally directly competing with these algos. Okay, so that's a con in my mind. Again, there are still pros. I know a lot of successful day traders who do look at the charts, and they are still successful because they're kind of playing against other day traders. So you are playing against other day traders, obviously, as well, but you have to keep in mind that you are playing against very complex algorithms with billions of dollars behind them. Okay, so last we'll get to the swing trader, which again is my preferred style of trading. All right, so swing trader, a trader who takes on positions based off both news, fundamentals, and technical analysis. These positions will typically be held anytime ranging from a few days to a few weeks, maybe even a few months in some cases. The pros of being a swing trader, in my mind, are fundamentals hold more weight than technicals. If you're actually interested in global trends or macroeconomics, this is more for you. Okay, so again, I personally like news. I like good news. I like following like the actual fundamentals of companies as opposed to just the charts of companies, of stocks. So I like paying attention to companies more than I like paying attention to the stock price. Okay, that's more exciting to me. It is genuinely interesting to me. So if you guys are more genuinely interested in, again, the economic, the financial side of companies, and kind of the revolutionary, the tangible, practical side of companies, then swing trading is probably more fun for you and more enjoyable. And the research, again, being a day trader, it takes a lot of learning if you want to be a day trader and learn technical analysis. There's so much to technical analysis, and there's so much things you can dive into in the technicals that it does take a lot of work. But as is swing trading, the work is just transferred and translated into researching news and keeping up to date with the most current news and like just the most current global trends. Okay, so that's more important. It's kind of, if you're deciding whether you want to be a day trader or a swing trader, again, even the technical analysis does apply a lot to swing trading. You can apply the same thing from a daily level to like a weekly level. Technicals are very strong on a weekly aspect as well and a macro aspect. But again, you definitely can get by very well as a swing trader if you're just good at spotting trends, okay? And or if you're just early on news, you just catch news earlier than other people, you will reap the rewards of that. Okay, so the second pro is it's much less labor intensive aside from the research and due diligence. Okay, so again, day traders make multiple trades intraday. You sometimes make 20, 30, 40 trades in a single day, but I typically, as a swing trader, will place probably like 5 to 10 trades every week. Okay, so it's far less labor intensive, again, aside from the research, following the news, keeping up with current events and whatnot. Okay, so again, it's just a transfer of time and resources and energy. Okay, you're either putting in time on the computer looking at the charts, or you're putting in time researching. Okay, and I personally just choose to put my time into researching. All right. The cons of a swing trader are if a company you're holding releases awful news overnight, or there is macro news that will affect the entire market, you're left stressing. Okay, so again, we already talked about this already. If the company releases trash news in the off market hours, then you're left with a stock that you know is about to crash. That is a con that day traders do not have to deal with. So keep that in mind. And again, most traders fail. I did talk about that in the beginning on that little rant that I said on like 90 to 95% of traders fail. So that's the thing. We won't go over that again, but just remember, you guys, if you're not willing to put in more work than others, then you will lose. You will lose money because there will always be someone outworking you. So you guys just work hard, dedicate yourself to this craft if you do want to commit to it. Because again, statistically, you will fail if you don't put in the work. All right, so we'll call it there, guys. Please let me know if there was anything you think I might have forgotten in there. Again, this was just off the top of my head. This is how I best classified each bracket of trader in my mind. But definitely let me know if there's anything important about each of these trader types that you felt I left out, or again, just any thoughts you may have on this. Feel free to drop a comment below. Hit me up on Instagram if you haven't checked that out already. It's @Waves Capital. The link's down in the description. And then actually, I gotta shout out the courses, because this is if you guys do want to get a taste of what type of trader I am, I do have the complete portfolio course. It's $15 a month. This is literally a list of every single position I have, and along with the email newsletter. So every time I update my course, it says updated weekly, but I actually update it every few days. Along with every update, I send out an email newsletter as well to everyone in the course, explaining and rationalizing the reasoning behind why I made the trades that I did. And again, if you're just interested in what type of trader I am, if you just want to see and then think it's shitty and then exit after a month, you can check it out. But again, I found that this is the best balance for me. This type of trading is the best balance for me. I do trade options. A lot of the stocks in here, my primary trades are options. Actually, all of my trades are options. My long-term investments are stocks and kind of harder assets, but what I trade is options. So I do have a free video on it. Always watch all the free content you can. I have this course. It's like $25 too, that you can check out if you want. But always watch as much free content as you can. But if you want to dive a little deeper, feel free to get the course too. I'd appreciate that. But again, the portfolio course, in my mind, is definitely worth it. Obviously, I'm biased, but it's worth it if you want to get a taste of what type of trading I do and why I choose to do the trades that I do. Okay, so that was very poorly said, but you guys get the point. Again, I appreciate it if you guys check these out. It's a good way to support the channel and myself. And again, I've gotten a lot of good feedback on it. It feels so good to know that this work I'm doing is actually making a tangible difference to people. So that's definitely reinforcing. And again, I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate you guys for watching these videos. Because again, the reason I was just talking to someone thinking about buying the course earlier, and they were like, "Oh, I'm learning so much from you. This is super." It's like making a real difference in their life, and that's the reason I started this YouTube channel. Like, the trading game for me specifically has been very successful. I've had a very lucrative past few weeks specifically, and at some point, it honestly just becomes a number. Like once I don't need like crazy nice things, and there's still a lot of things I want, and money's great, don't get me wrong, but helping people like make a real difference in their lives and learn a skill that's honestly invaluable. Again, you can use this skill for the rest of your life. It is like invaluable, and it's so much more fulfilling than trading. And I'm so pumped I made this YouTube channel and I'm creating this community around it. So that all said, I'll stop ranting there. Again, the links to these is down in the description if you want to check them out. If not, no worries at all. But yeah, again, I just appreciate you guys so much. And until next time, always remember, take action, make waves in this world. Peace. Solid one. Solid rant. All right, bye, guys.